The Founders Award is the highest recognition that Sigma Pi fraternity can award to an individual member. The men who are recognized with this award are the most outstanding among our fraternity, and they represent models of professional, personal, and fraternal success. These are the men that we hold up as paragons for the next generation of Sigma Pi men to emulate. To introduce our Founders Award winner, I'd like to call on Alpha-Iota alumnus, Mike Munsell.
All right, well, thank you, Grand Sage. I'm Mike Munsell from Alpha-Iota chapter at Missouri S&T in Rolla, Missouri. I'm honored to give an introduction, as best I can, for my brother and friend, Jeff Tottleben, for the Founders Award this year. Jeff has done everything, and I'm not going to talk about every one of those things because we'll be here all night, but he has been a leader of our house, of our chapter, since he started in Rolla in 1987. He served the house as pledge class president, recruiting chairman, pledge trainer, second counselor, and sage. Jeff also represented the house very well on the Interfraternity Council, and he served as the president of Rolla's IFC. More recently, Jeff served as the chairman of Alpha-Iota's Capital Campaign Committee, which raised funds for the replacement of the old Sigma Pi houses, some dating to the 1930s. Led a very successful campaign to build a new modern 18,000 square foot chapter house that the actives at Rolla are now enjoying. During this effort, Jeff donated countless hours of his time and expertise to keep the campaign and the new house build on track. The campaign started in 2016, and the new house was completed in 2019. 3 years. Pretty amazing. He led the new house effort with the drive to exceed the initial and even the stretch goals for donations. And the result is, in my opinion, the best fraternity chapter house in Rolla, Missouri. And I think it can make all of us very proud. I think it's a great house for Sigma Pi's to live in. And I see a lot of nods of approval, so thank you. You would think after that, Jeff would take a break. He didn't. He is now leading alumni advisor for the recruitment of new members into the house. And I know, it's unbelievable, isn't it? Thank you. I needed a break. He is helping the guys in the house to recruit new members. We just learned today, I think we've got something like 24, 25 starting in the fall, living in-house. In Rolla, you can live in the house your first year, your fall semester of your freshman year, which is unusual, but also kind of nice. So his recruiting has really helped the house recently, and he has also connected the house and the alumni organizations with his marketing firm, a firm in St. Louis called Think Tank. And they have helped us to develop some new methods, both for recruiting new members, but also for raising new funds from our alumni to help the Building Association and our educational foundation. With that, I will welcome up Jeff Tottleben.
Thank you. That's quite an introduction. Thank you, Mike. I am very grateful to be a Sigma Pi. And my most valuable friendships were formed 35 years ago when I joined the fraternity. And I'm truly honored and humbled that a few of those guys are here with me tonight. So to my Alpha-Iota brothers, I want to say thank you, because this is truly your award as much as it is mine. And we all made each other who we are, so thank you once again. I really appreciate you guys and love you guys. I want to share just a quick story to expand on what Mike talked about this new chapter house in Rolla, Missouri. Alpha-Iota chapter was formed in 1933. In 1946, the chapter purchased a house about 2 blocks from campus. It was a sizable house, but by the 1960s, it was already in disrepair. And it was already old then, so much so that the actives in the 60s started forming committees to explore getting a new chapter house. And when I joined the fraternity in the fall of 1987, the house was even older and more decrepit. And we kind of got away with it because we had good brotherhood, and it was charming, kind of in the way that an old Wrigley Field or Fenway Park was charming before the renovations. So we got away with it for a while. And then when I was an undergrad, more committees were formed, but nothing ever came of those efforts. We had a couple of small campaigns to redo the old kitchen, make some minor cosmetic improvements, but they were just Band-Aids. And so by the early 2000s, the condition of our chapter house was such that it definitely impacted our rush efforts. And what used to be 20 to 25 man pledge classes regularly started becoming 10, 11, 12 man pledge classes, and we suffered as a result. And in the meantime, like most universities, you go to any university today, you see 3 or 4 cranes on a campus. At our campus, they invested in new dorms, new apartments, and 6 or 7 of our rival fraternity houses got new houses in the early 2000s. And we were really behind the curve so much that some of us from my era were concerned about the long-term viability of our chapter. We really were worried about the future of Alpha-Iota. So we came to a crossroads of sorts. We got to do something drastic or we might die a slow death as a chapter. And we decided to go all in on building this new house. So early in the campaign, I got lucky. I had a past Founders Award winner named Wayne Lawfer give a $250,000 donation, which was very generous and added a lot of credibility. He's a 1967 alum, I believe. And then I started reaching out to a couple of my contemporaries, guys that I thought would be good donors. And I thought this was going to be easy. And a couple of people that I really trust that are very successful said to me, Jeff, I'd really like to donate to this new house, but I don't know if the current actives are worth saving. I want you to look me in the eye and tell me that they're worth saving, because I haven't been there in a while. And I knew my guys really well from my era, but I didn't know the current actives. So I said, you know what? I answered this question as honestly as I could. I said, I don't know the answer to that. Let me go spend some time and find out. So I invested some time. It's about a 2-hour drive from where I live to the campus. And I went to a couple e-board meetings and a couple chapter meetings. And I found out some nice things. I recognized that, number one, these were really solid guys. They were a little smaller in size than we were when I was there in numbers. But the issues they were dealing with in running the chapter were almost identical to the issues that I was dealing with 30, 35 years ago. Maybe the technology and the terminology were different, but the issues were the same. And more importantly to me, the values they applied to those issues were the same. Advancing brotherhood, promoting scholarship, encouraging chivalry, diffusing culture, developing character. Those values were alive and well, and they were the framework from which they attempted to solve all their problems. So we moved forward with this capital campaign, and as it turns out, the best way to raise money for a new fraternity house is what you do is you get people engaged from all the different eras. So we started looking for volunteers from the 60s, 70s, 80s, and they were going to be era leaders, and they were going to go solicit their contemporaries for donations. One of our 1960s era leaders is here tonight. He's a 1964 graduate named Bernie Ebert. I want to give Bernie a round of applause. He was one of the workhorses of our campaign. And to me, I graduated in 1991. These older guys ended up being the workhorse of our campaign. And we started out with 8 to 10 people on the committee. And by the end of the committee, this was like a 36-month project. By the end of the committee, the monthly call was up to 30 people from 6 decades that were involved in this capital campaign. And so what I got to know these guys really well, and another theme repeated itself. When we were in these committee meetings, I noticed that everybody on the campaign committee, regardless of their era, shared these same values: brotherhood, scholarship, chivalry, culture, and character. And they tried to apply them in the process of getting this new fraternity house built and raising money. And this ranged from like how we decided about going about who to hire as the general contractor, how we treated brothers that didn't donate. Like that's an awkward thing. Like here's a guy I really think is capable of donating and he didn't, but we still treated him with respect and all these same values. You don't really know what's going on in their life and we couldn't judge. But also like conversations came up about the physical layout of the house. Does the layout of the house promote brotherhood? How do we eat meals? How do we recognize guests in our new house? Do those things uphold the creed? And I saw this thing living and breathing. So needless to say, I can honestly say that the Capitol campaign and the house itself lived up to the creed. And the project transformed our chapter. We had all these alumni engaged and invested in the new house. We wanted to keep this momentum going forward. So we expanded our alumni boards and we started raising more money for scholarships. And as Mike said, we started getting more involved in Rush and PR and the website development for the chapter. And now what we've got is a really good cross-section of people from the 60s all the way up to the 2020s. You know, some of these people are older than my dad, and some of them are younger than my oldest son. And what's amazing about this is we're all working on the same things together. And I can honestly say that I'm looking at these people not as older or younger than me, but as equals who share the same value system. So the big takeaway for me from this whole exercise is that the ideals championed by the fraternity are enduring. Advancing brotherhood and promoting scholarship, encouraging chivalry, diffusing culture, developing character, those things don't change. That's what connects us. It connects me to you. It connects you guys to the older people in your chapter that have been there before you. It's what allowed me to have dinner last night with a man who's going to be 80 years old in 2 months and a guy who's not even legal drinking age yet that I'm not sure should have been at the table, right? And that's all good. It connects us as equals. So, you know, I look at these men as equals, and that's really the best thing about this whole exercise. So to me, connecting us all, sharing the same values, that is truly something worth saving for and investing in, and that's what binds us together. Thank you. I really appreciate it. This is a great award.
Thank you. We'll take pictures over there.